inspired by everything. I'm inspired by nature. I mean, to an insane degree. I love bright colours and flowers and birds and skeletons and fish, and you know, just being out in nature really inspires me. I really love, you know, natural history. I love books. I love reading, you know, philosophy, spirituality. I get inspired by everything. I mean, my work literally is just a combination of all the things that I love, that I'm feeling at the time. You know, lots of my designs evolved from necessity. Like I have a whole range of handmade in London bags, which just came about because I was tired of being copied by everyone. So I kind of literally put handmade in London so they couldn't just copy it and mass produce it in a factory. Do you know what I mean? Because it literally wouldn't be handmade in London. So sometimes it's designed by whatever I'm feeling at the moment. I see like a random poster, or I get inspired by the colours or font or something like that, and I just kind of churn it up, and it kind of goes through my brain, and then out it comes as a new idea, and I run with it and see if people like it. I mean, some things, you know, I just don't make them. I make like a small range and then never make it again because it wasn't very popular or it wasn't the right time, and you know, that's how I work. It's about getting your work seen. It's about doing exhibitions, doing galleries, getting people to come and see your work who can then promote it. It's like finding the right curators and getting yourself into big shows. I mean, I'm not really so much on the art front yet. I'm moving slowly into that, but I'm more on the design front. And I know literally from the design perspective, it's about getting yourself into different little boutiques. It's about getting yourself into different magazines. It's about getting yourself seen on the catwalk, you know. But the problem is just that so many people are doing so much stuff, and you can't just keep on making different things and collaborating with people without getting some sort of solid business return. And that's the hardest part, I think. There are lots of artists like Chris Ofili, who I'm a big fan of, who make work that's very political and it's very beautiful, and it's very it has something to say about the way we live. And even as a Londoner and of Afro-Caribbean descent, I can relate to his art because it does say something about the sort of diasporic experience of living and being black and living.
Yeah.
It's nothing but Dutch materials, you know, Western world materials put on black models and sewn by black designers, but that doesn't make it black fashion.
Yes.
Doesn't make it African. African should come out of the traditions of African clothing. You know the Yoruba, they are masters in leather work.
Yes.
My God, the macrame and the leather work.
So you think designers of our generation nowadays, you're not really doing African arts, they're just using
They're just black. They're just skin pigmentation. What is African art? African art descends from the sculptures you've seen.
Yeah.
African art descends from the bark drawings. African fashion descends from the traditional African fashion. And it can be adjusted, it can be adapted. We've just done an haute couture collection made out of strip cloth. Men, women and children. And it works, you can make jeans out of them, and that's so much nicer than denim. You know, because they're indigenous materials, they cool.
I buy materials in London. I mean, I buy leather from London and I import some from, you know, other countries. But I wouldn't necessarily say that, you know, my leather, my art, it's a reflection of me. I'm not calling it African art. It's my art, and I'm a Londoner of Caribbean descent. So I don't know. Some people, they like to say because my stuff is really bright and bright colours, it comes from my Caribbean heritage. But it doesn't. I grew up in London. You know, most of the time it's grey here. You know, it's just me personally liking all this stuff and really being into, you know, animals and flowers and birds and, you know, skins as well. I mean, I get really inspired by the leathers and the colours that I see, so my work comes more from the materials. But if they necessarily came from, I mean, but I also make bags out of African fabric as well, and that stuff does come from Africa. You know, I mean, I collaborate with my friend who's a fashion designer. She's from South Africa, and we collaborate together on some ideas, so our stuff does have an African basis and a African source. So I think if you're going to call it African art, I mean, the artist, yes, is African, so therefore it can be African art. Maybe the paint they use was bought in Africa, so it makes a claim of being African art. It depends. I mean, what are they trying to represent? What are they trying to make the claim for? So yeah, sometimes the labels can be misleading, but that's the intention of the artist, I think. So it isn't a very important thing. I mean, you know, look at the whole fashion industry. You know, the whole made in England thing. You know, they kind of get made everywhere else, and then the label's the last thing that's sewn on in England. And technically, they can say it's made in England, but is it really made in England? You know.
You have actually a responsibility towards your own history.
Yes.
And it's all in Western universities.
Yeah, I think everyone should just be, you know, honest with themselves and everyone. I think that's the most important thing. Just be who you are 100%. That's the way I try to live my life. So yeah, just keep on doing what you love. I think that's the most important thing for anyone. I trade at Spitalfields Market, so I get offers from around the world. I mean, people come to visit that market. It's world famous, so people do come to London to see something new, and it has been known in the past. It's changing a little bit now, but it has been known in the past for promoting new designers and work and art and clothing that you can't get anywhere else. So you have lots of people coming to London specifically to see the artists at Spitalfields. I sell online, I take part in trade fairs, I do collaborations with friends. I take wholesale orders, I work with galleries around the world. Sometimes people buy stuff from me for one-off exhibitions. You know, I try to get my stuff out into magazines, for video shoots. It's, you know, a big, massive group of friends and acquaintances who we all work together in order to promote our work. So, you know, I know photographers, I know models, I know stylists, so it's a massive big team effort getting your stuff out there, but it's a multi-pronged effort. It takes a lot of work, and most of it isn't actually designing or making the art or making it. Most of it is actually trying to do the marketing, which is the boring part, but it's the part that gets your stuff out there.